Good afternoon. This is Cary Rogers, and I'm here to give you some updates on the DLM, which stands for the Dynamic Learning Maps. It is the alternate assessment based on alternate academic achievement standards that's used for students with the most significant cognitive disability. The purpose of the instructionally embedded DLM assessment is intended to give students opportunities to show what they have learned and can do. It is recommended that teachers select the linkage level recommended by the system after they complete the first contact survey. Linkage levels should not be changed in order to check for baseline or to avoid challenging the student. The most important aspect to understand about instructionally embedded assessments is that they are designed to be given on a rolling basis throughout the school year, following instructions, rather than collectively one after another over a short period of time. The DLM extracts, there are two extracts that I'd like to call your attention to. The training status extract will indicate which users have completed the required test administrator training. The second is a new report that is available. It's referred to as the DLM Instructionally Embedded Monitoring Extract. It was designed to help monitor the completion of the blueprint requirements in ELA and math. On this report, you start out by seeing the demographics, and it will indicate which assessment window it is referring to. This slide shows what you will see with English Language Arts. It goes ahead and indicates how many testlets have been given. There are 4 different requirements for both ELA and math based on the 4 conceptual areas or claims. And so it indicates in the yellow column going down the blueprint requirement, what percentage is met. So on that first line for the 3rd grader, they had completed requirement 1, therefore 25% of that blueprint was met. The goal is by December 20th, all students will have a 100%. In that column K that indicates the blueprint requirement. The same is true for math. On science, it's a little different since science is not required for the instructionally embedded window. For those students who are rostered to science, you will see the educator's last name. And if they chose to give testlets during the instructionally embedded window, you will see a number there. If they have not, it will say NA. I want to give you some updates as far as text-to-speech accommodations. Text-to-speech, on the CAP, there are several different options available. As far as universal design for learning or those universal features that are available for all students, that includes directions for ELA, math, and science, and all of the science assessment is available for text-to-speech for any student. Of course, the students will need to have headsets or be tested in a separate location. Those features or accommodations available to students with an IEP, a 504, an ILP, or a student improvement plan that must be selected on the student's PNP are text-only, text and graphics, and non-visual. The default when you select the synthetic voice is text and graphics. I highly recommend leaving it at text and graphics. The only difference between text and graphics and text only is that with text and graphics, the graphs and charts or tables will also be provided through a digital text-to-speech for the math. With this feature, the entire math assessment, the entire science assessment, and the questions and stems for ELA are provided through text-to-speech. The non-visual setting is intended for students with a print disability and must be approved by KSDE. The non-visual setting provides text-to-speech for the ELA passages. Students need to be using this accommodation on a regular basis on classroom assignments and 100% of the time on classroom assessments. This is intended for students who are able to comprehend grade-level text, but due to their print disability, require text-to-speech or audio supports to access the grade-level text. This can be due to a visual impairment or blindness, or due to a reading-based disability that affects fluency, decoding, or comprehension. In order to determine if this might be a good accommodation for a student, staff could do a reading probe with and without accommodations to determine if the issue is a result of their inability to access grade level text. If the result is due to an inability to comprehend the text, the student still would not be able to demonstrate comprehension even with the accommodation. This accommodation is available for students with an IEP, 504, ILP, or student improvement plan, and the students must be reading at least 2 grade levels below without the accommodation. Print disabilities and the consideration for accommodations. This is a new document that is available on the KSDE assessment page as well as on the KSDE TASN page. It goes into detail as far as what a student with a print disability, what that involves. A student with a print disability is unable to gain information from conventional printed material at grade level, and they need alternate access to that information. It could be a student with blindness or visual impairments, a student with a specific learning disability such as dyslexia, or students with physical disabilities. It's important to note that accessible educational materials and assistive technology is required for all students with disabilities under IDEA. It helps to eliminate the most frequent barriers that students with print disabilities encounter when accessing the general education curriculum, and it enables them to gain access to and progress in the general education curriculum. There are 3 student examples on this document as well to help guide educators in determining if their student might possibly have a print disability. I also want to bring your attention to Infinitext, which is accessible textbook collection program. This is a program that is available through Infinitect. If you would like to access Infinitext, it is available to all Kansas schools at no cost. You can contact Beth Zillinger or Steve Clements for more information. Accessible instructional materials. The AEM Navigator is an online process facilitator that guides the work of teams as they work through an individual student's need for specialized formats of printed instructional materials. This is not a screening or a diagnostic tool, rather a series of guiding questions to assist teams with decisions making about the need, selection, acquisition, and use of accessible printed materials. There is a link to this information on the TASN website. Another option available to help look at this accommodation is the PAR, which is produced by Don Johnson. The PAR is a paper version, which is free. The UPAR is a digital version. That assessment tool will go ahead and help to identify whether a student should be considered for text-to-speech or whether someone reading the text works better for the student. It takes about 40 minutes to complete that. I've also included other resources for you on accessible educational materials. This is the text-to-speech checklist that must be completed for any student requesting the non-visual setting or ELA passages for the state assessment. This needs to be turned in to me at crogers@ksde.org by January 31st for consideration for this school year's state assessment. We do not want these forms completed for 9th graders, 11th graders, or 12th graders, since they are not tested on ELA. 11th graders with a visual impairment or a print disability can use the text and graphics option and receive the same accommodation. Accommodations on district testing. If an IEP states that a student will have accommodations for district assessments, those must be honored. When accommodations are removed for district and state assessments, students are not able to demonstrate what they know. I've included a link to NWEA as far as frequently asked questions on accessibility and accommodations and what they allow for MAP skills testing. If you have any questions concerning the DLM or accommodations, you can reach me at 785-296-0916 or crogers@ksde.org.